Hey guys, it's Gameface here and welcome back. Today I'm going to be giving you loads of new information about FIFA 19. Of course, I did do a video just the other day about the FIFA 19 Champions League trailer, sort of just talking about it basically, but this is actually going to give you some information and some details about what to expect in FIFA 19, not just including Champions League, but outside of that as well. So before we get into today's video, if we could try and hit 100 likes on today's video, then I'd really appreciate it. Let's see whether we can hit 100 likes on a Monday video. Let's wait and find out. And also, if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. Chasing down 20,000 subscribers now, and you guys can really help out massively with that. So without further ado, let's crack on with the video and let's take a look at some information that we've got. Writing down a few notes. Ugh. Let's get reading. Now, we obviously know that FIFA 19 will be released on the 28th of September. You can, however, get the Champions Edition and get it for 3 days early access. So a little bit of more information for you there as the release date and everything like that. Also, we of course know about the Champions League being added, the license and that sort of thing, but the more important thing is actually where that's going to be used, the Champions League license. So we know that you will be able to use it in career mode, we know you'll be able to use it in Ultimate Team, and we also know you'll be able to have it in the Journey as well. And it's not just the Champions League, it's worth saying it's the Europa League as well as the Champions League, it's the whole UEFA license, and we will be able to use it in the third and final chapter of Alex Hunter's Journey mode. So that's going to be the last chapter of the Journey mode, and it'll also be involved within that as well. Presumably you'll get to play in the Champions League or the Europa League or whatever. So that is something that will be used in the Journey, and also on top of that, there will actually be a new commentary team in the Champions League and Europa League, or at least I assume it's both of them anyway. So the new commentary team will be Lee Dixon, and will also be Derek Ray, I think is how I pronounce his name as well. Both those guys will be commentating, so you won't have the usual Clive Tilsley and who's it, Martin Tyler? Something to look out for those of you that listen to the commentary. Lee Dixon's voice now. Great. Like I said before, there's good news for Arsenal fans. Europa League is in FIFA 19 as well. So, well done with that. You can actually customise the Champions League as well. So, outside of career mode, you will be able to do a standalone Champions League mode. Now, this is something that allows you to customise the Champions League, so it allows you to select whatever team you want and play as them, as well as select the other teams in the Champions League and play as them as well. So, more good news for Arsenal fans. Maybe we'll play Champions League football after all. Moving away from Champions League stuff, there's gameplay information now. This is the key thing. This is where it's going to be a little bit different. Not many people know about these sort of things, and I have read a really good article. I should put the link in the description below, hopefully, which has given me loads and loads of information about exactly what has happened to FIFA 19 in terms of the gameplay. And so I'll go through some of the changes that have been made to the gameplay. A lot of it's tactical, a lot of it's instruction-based, and I'm going to go through it now. So, first and foremost, the new fullback tactics, okay? So we know that you can go and play instructions, and before you've been able to put overlap. That's all it's really said. You can overlap, or you can have hold back whilst attacking or something like that. Those are the usual fullback options on the instructions. However, they've now changed. So you can now overlap the winger, which is basically just overlap, I think, but the next option is underlap the centre of the pitch, which I assume tactically means that the fullbacks come inside a little bit, as we saw Pep Guardiola do in the first years at Manchester City, was the fullbacks coming inside and playing as midfielders in a way. So I'm assuming that's what the underlap of the centre of the pitch means. They'll come inside of the wing back, maybe play as a centre mid almost, or maybe actually go underneath and maybe join the attack. It's really difficult to tell right now, but that's what they're calling it, underlap of the centre of the pitch. So an interesting little tweak to the tactics there of the fullbacks, and I think we're going to have a much bigger control of the tactics of the team this year as well, which is going to be something to look out for sure. Whether those tactics actually make a big impact on the gameplay, I'm not really too sure just yet. That remains to be seen. More player instructions that are slightly different as well for centre mids. So you can actually cover the winger now, which is something a little bit different. You can cover the winger, or you can cover the centre of the pitch as well. So a little tweak once again. These are just small details. There's a lot of them I won't go into the smaller details. You'll be able to find them in the article, but I'm just going to go over the little things that I actually thought were potentially quite big things to some people. Also, we've had change to the mini-map as well. Again, small tweaks this one, but now one team will be featured as triangles, the other team will be featured as circles. This thing for me could be quite big, this next one. Configure your tactics before the game begins for different scenarios. Now that means that you can configure your tactics for if you're 1-0 up, let's say, and that means that in-game if you go 1-0 up, your tactics switch, and you can actually use the D-pad to change to those specific tactics. So that means that you can have different playing styles depending on what scenario you are in game. So this is really interesting. So that means that you can change the fullback positioning. You can get more players to flood the box, for example, if you're losing or whatever. And that means you can obviously use the D-pad and you'll be able to change to these different systems within the game, depending on the scenarios that you are finding yourself in. So another little tweak, but that also means due to those changes, there's no all-out attack anymore. There'll be no park the bus either. And so that means that those D-pad changes will replace those ones that we previously knew about. Another sort of tactical change is the changes to the defensive approach. So that means that you can now tell your players to press after you've lost possession. You can also tell them to have constant pressure on the ball. You can also tell your players to drop back or to put pressure on a heavy touch by the opposition. So little tweaks to the tactics, little tweaks to the instructions, these sort of things are what we're hearing about, first of all, from the EA Play, which was a few days ago now. So that's certainly something to look out for. There's other things though as well, like you can adjust the players that you send up for corners. Now this I think actually could be quite a big deal. I've always wanted to do this because you end up with some very strange scenarios from corners. For some reason, sometimes you end up with all the centre-backs in, other times you end up with the centre-backs back in defence. I don't know about you, but I want my tallest players in the box. As simple as that. I want my tallest players in the box, and I maybe want a pacier player on the edge of the box to be able to get back and stop any counter-attacks. So it seems very, very strange. We've never had that before, but now it seems like, at least from this information, you can actually change the amount of players you have in the box. Whether that means you can change who goes in the box, I'm not 100% sure, but certainly number-wise, you can change whether you have 4 players, 5 players, 8 players, however many players you want by the sounds of it. It seems like you can determine how many players go into the box for those set pieces. Looking forward to that. You can also determine how many players run forward as well for attacks. So these are little things, little tweaks to the instructions and the tactics that we will be able to implement in FIFA 19. And as for that, there's other smaller details as well, like step overs have been slightly changed apparently, where the ball actually moves slightly over to one foot or the other depending on what sort of step over you've done. But those little bits of information I've kind of left out, and you can go ahead and read them in the article in the description below. I suppose that's really it on the information. I just wanted to kind of bring in a really small amount of information that could actually make a big impact on the gameplay, depending on how well it's implemented by EA and also how well we're able to use it as well. So looking forward to all those tweaks and little changes. However, I am also wary that some of these things I've mentioned might just be EA changing the names of things in order to make it seem like a new feature. So we'll look out for that. Hopefully that's not going to be the case, but I think it's something they tried to do last year to pull the wool over people's eyes. Hopefully that doesn't happen this year as well. Don't forget, if you haven't already seen the FIFA 19 Champions League trailer, which I did sort of reacting to it, then you can find that in the top right hand corner of this video. You can go ahead and check it out if you haven't seen that trailer already. Quite a good trailer to be fair. It doesn't tell you loads, but just kind of builds up the Champions League a little bit. We can't also forget about the Europa League though. It's important for the Arsenal fans out there, I suppose. But anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. If we could try and hit 100 likes on today's video, then I'd really appreciate it. Also, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already as well, and that'd be absolutely fantastic too. Thank you all so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.